When you're reading to your baby, do you ever stop and wonder, do I have to read every single word, or is it okay to just look at pictures together? Your baby doesn't need perfection. They just need connection. So today, in this video, let's chat about why it's okay to just look at pictures in board books, and I'll share some tips to help you know how to do just that. When he was about 10 weeks old, I decided that I wanted to start reading to him a habit, and you can hear more about that story by clicking on the card. I remember one of the first books I wanted to read to him was Corduroy. It was on our shelf, it was a classic. I remember loving Corduroy when I was a little girl. And so I grabbed the book off our bookshelf, we sat down in the chair, and I think I read like 2 pages before I was like, this has too many words, we're not reading this right now. On the flip side of that, I could not stand the book Goodnight Gorilla because of how few words there were in the book. I thought just reading it was so boring. Goodnight Gorilla, goodnight elephant. And so with that, I naturally, it's on your face, dude. I naturally started just describing the pictures, like, oh, there goes the gorilla. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So through Goodnight Gorilla, I remembered what I used to do whenever I taught Spanish.
One of my favorite assessments was what was called a picture talk. So I would print out pictures from the book we were studying or a video we were using, and I would have the students select 4 randomly, and they would have to describe what they saw in the picture. What I liked about this form of assessment is that it gave the students a lot of freedom in what they were describing. And so in class, we would describe pictures all the time. My favorite was to teach Spanish 1 because they were beginners, and I like to call them like your baby Spanish learners. Like, it's like when you're a baby and you're learning simple single words for the first time, but then you improve and you grow in your first language. Same thing applies to your second language. And now I'm doing that in reverse. So I'm going back and I'm teaching my son his first language. And so I can use those skills. We'll talk more about that when I get home. But we can use those skills when we're reading books to our babies. We're on our way to our neighborhood's free little library, and when we get there, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. There's Franklin, and there's a Winnie the Pooh that maybe we can get to if we have time. All I'm gonna say is just turtle. 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 So let's go back to Goodnight Gorilla. So earlier I mentioned how just the simple Goodnight Gorilla, no words on this page, goodnight elephant, goodnight lion, like that was just, I didn't know what to do with it at the beginning. I was like, what do I do? There's so few words in this book. What you're gonna do, what I've learned, you're going to just describe the pictures in your own words. Look, the gorilla is taking the keys. He's getting out of the cage. He's walking behind the man, tiptoe, tiptoe. You're just gonna describe the pictures in your own words. Another thing that you can do, like I showed you with Franklin, gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. So just saying one word sentences gorilla as you go throughout the book. You can also ask questions to your baby. Like, they can't answer you yet, but you can still ask questions. You can say, oh, I wonder where they're going to go next. Oh, look, there they are, the armadillo. What sound does an armadillo make? Just asking questions to your baby. It's a way to engage with them. It's a way for you to speak using the book as a prompt for you to have conversation with your baby. Another thing I like to do when reading Goodnight Gorilla is narrate one character's action, and I like to focus on the little bitty mouse because he's often forgotten about. So, look, the mouse has climbed up the balloon. Is the mouse trying to cut open? Is the mouse trying to cut the string for the balloon? He did! The balloon is flying away. Oh, the balloon was connected to a banana. And we just go through the whole book talking about the little mouse. At the very end, nobody says goodnight to the mouse. He pulled up the banana for the gorilla and helped him out, and nobody says goodnight to the mouse. So we have to say goodnight, mousey. Goodnight, mouse. I wanted to try this again with Corduroy because, like I said earlier, when I first started reading it, look at all that.
That's a lot of words on this page, especially for a 10-week-old baby. My son, at the time of this recording, is 7.5 months. But even still, I think he would turn these pages too fast for me to be able to get through all the text. So I'm going to insert a clip right here of me reading this book to him earlier this morning. Oh, there he goes. Up the escalator. Oh, look. Bed, bed, bed. He's climbing up. Oh, I wonder if he'll find a button. Is he gonna find a button? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, he's investigating. Oh no, the lamp fell over. So another tip is to mix it up. Sometimes read the words on the page, and then sometimes just describe the pictures. And a book I like to do that with is the Babies and Kitties book. So sometimes I'll read the words like they make silly faces, or I'll do something like this. Look, that baby's in a basket. There's a kitty in the basket. Oh, bubbles. Oh, we love bubbles. So I'm just talking about the pictures. And this is really nice because with this book in particular, my son likes to just turn the pages and go back and then look at the cover and then go back. So then I'm able to just roll with it. I can just talk about the page that he's currently interested in looking at and just describing what I see. So a tip in that regard is if your baby has started turning pages and they're either flying through the book too fast or they're going backwards sometimes, just roll with it. It's not a big deal. The main thing is that they are engaging with the book and they are connecting with you. So remember, connection over perfection. The other day, my best friend and I were Marco Poloing, and she was leaving me a video chat of her talking about something, and then her little 18-month-old comes over to her bringing her Goodnight Gorilla, and she stops telling me whatever she's telling me, just has him sit down in her lap, and she starts reading him Goodnight Gorilla. This is the type of friendship we have where we're just like, okay, we're just reading a book now. But it was really fun to watch her read Goodnight Gorilla because she reads it totally different than I do. So something she did that I thought was brilliant was she would say like, good night, elephant. Good night, lion. Good night, armadillo. And add animal sounds. And I'm like, oh, that's so smart. So that night I tried it with my son. He loved it. He looked at me when I did the little, he was like, and giggled. And then on this page, she did a little like, some sort of song to like illustrate them tiptoeing. I'm like, oh, that's so fun. Music is such a great way to engage with your baby. Of course, we should work it into Goodnight Gorilla too. If you would like to know my family's favorite song books to read with our baby, check out this video right here to have some songbook recommendations. My name is Kara and I share board book recommendations and reading tips for you and your baby. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video, and I'll talk to you again later. Bye!